Hey yo guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags Metal Reviews, and today we're getting our first impressions of Death Atlas from Cradle Decapitation. Alright, Cradle Decapitation. These guys, this is one of my favorite bands of this subgenre, which I would put them in the technical death metal genre. They're a bit, you know, they dive a little into like the grindcore type of stuff, but this band for me has been on a bit of a hot streak. At least the last two albums are very strong in my opinion. Their single or one or two singles they put out for Death Atlas, which I only listened to once or twice because I didn't want to kind of spoil it. Very strong, like those a lot. I have pretty high hopes for this album.
Yeah, I did a similar thing to you where I remember listening to the singles, but I didn't really listen to them much.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this album is really going to be like a good experience just as a whole. Just kind of knowing from what I've seen of the track listing and the run times and stuff. But I think this band has a really good full package of stuff. Like, it's like when you think of Cradle Decap, you're going to get a range of things.
It's true. They stand out and they have a unique sound, and I just hope that that shines through on this album. It's a bit lengthy. It's almost an hour long, so we're going to dive into it now. We're going to listen to it in its entirety for the first time, and we'll be back with our first impressions of Death Atlas in a second. Stay put. And we're back. We just listened to Death Atlas in its entirety, and I'm going to take the floor here and say that I thought this album was pretty solid from beginning to end, but there are a bit of gripes. As usual, we have gripes. This is just a first impression, so bear with us. First off, I'm going to say my biggest gripe for the album pretty much is the interludes. There's 4 interludes if you count the intro track. The intro track I thought was okay. It's ominous. It's a nice build-up. It kind of sets the tone as they're supposed to do. That's fun. Then you have The Great Dying Part 1. You have The Great Dying Part 2. And then you have The Unerasable Past. Now, these tracks weren't particularly bad, but they're just kind of space filler. And to me, that just seems unnecessary. I get it. The album's got a theme. You know, they're trying to put forth a message, whatever. There's reference to the Anthropocene extinction in one of those tracks, which is a cool throwback to the previous albums. That's cool stuff. I don't mind that, but I just want to listen to the music. Get on with it. Aside from that, speaking of the music, this band goes hard. This album goes hard. I was not disappointed there at all. If I had to nitpick, I would say there's a lot of wall of noise type of stuff that you're hearing, right? Which is typical for bands like this, and that's okay. Because this band, I find, breaks it up enough for me to enjoy it. But I even asked TV Fish during the listening session, like, I wonder whose choice it is in the band to have the drums just constantly going ham, like, on the kick and just blast beats. Like, it's not 100% of the time.
Yeah.
But it's a lot, and it happens in every song. Even in songs like Time's Cruel Curtain, which is track number 12. One of my highest rated tracks on the album. I love this song. It starts off mellow, at least mellow in comparison to the rest of the songs. The guitar actually takes a front seat, I found. You can hear the riffs a lot easier. It kind of was more full frontal. There's some bass, that bass line that comes in like about midway or 2/3 through the song, and then you got probably the best groove on the entire album on this song. It's just badass. And then the outro fades out really nicely. Awesome song all around, but it still is not without the crazy super fast drumming. I just wish they just didn't do it sometimes. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's a bit excessive.
They do it in every song, and it's well placed and stuff like that, but I just wish they had a song where they didn't do it at all. And I don't know, maybe that's a minor gripe, I don't know. Overall though, I thought it was pretty good. A couple other tracks that I really liked. Finish Them was a highlight for me, and Bring Back the Plague was another one that I thought was really good. Didn't really have any tracks I was disliking. They were all kind of falling into the standard for me as far as this band goes, so overall I was pretty happy with the first impression.
Yeah, I'm similar. Like, this album straight up is good. I enjoyed it. The 3 songs you mentioned were also my like top tracks as well. Time's Cruel Curtain just had, like, when that bass started, I just kind of just dropped my book, just like, what the fuck? Because that's the only time on this album where something like that happens.
Yeah.
And that's good. It's good that they didn't overuse that. They just saved it for that one song and makes it even more special that way. But Bring Back the Plague is also sick, and one really cool thing about that one is, first of all, the breakdown in that song is one of the best breakdowns on the album, but the build up to it was even better, because it was literally quiet. Like, they turned down in the mix.
Yeah.
And they were playing quiet, like everything about it was literally quiet until everything came back in, and then it just drops on you like a cinder block.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. I love how they set up that breakdown. And then in Finish Them, that one rhythmically is probably the most unique on the album. That one had like minimal, crazy blast beats and onslaught compared to the rest. So I guess for your purposes, that one you'd like gravitate more towards perhaps throughout the week.
Yeah, it also stood out because the tempo was a little slower as well. At least it started off slower, then it picks up later on. But I thought it was kind of interesting because it's the shortest song on the album. It's less than 3 minutes. And typically on an album, like generally in metal, the shorter songs are typically the fastest songs. These guys did the opposite. Their shortest song is like one of their slower tempoed songs, which I thought was a little bit interesting.
Now, in regards to all the interludes in the intro was pretty good.
Yeah.
For the most part, it set it up, the whole thing pretty well. It was ominous, etc. The Great Dying Part 1, I liked how creepy it was.
Yeah.
But then the Great Dying Part 2 just felt like I don't know, like it was playing and I'm just like, huh? Like, did something happen? I don't know.
On to the next one.
Did not care about that one. But the Unerasable Past was a really good interlude because it was the prelude to the title track.
Yeah.
Now the title track, when I saw, when I looked at the track listing before we listened to the album, I saw that this song was 9 minutes long. So I'm thinking, okay, Cattle Decapitation wrote a song that lasts 9 minutes. What the fuck happens? And at first, the song, it just kind of like, it has this really cool subtle melody in the guitar part or just in the background. It's really subtle, and then it just kind of becomes a little bit samey. And when I say that, I mean it becomes a little bit too similar to the rest of the album. Onslaught of drums, all this crazy stuff. Like it feels like a typical song. So I was like, okay, I want this to kind of be special. This is 9 minutes. But then, partway through, about 4 minutes in, it starts to become a lot more spacious, a lot more melodic. And then the vocals that come in, I think about 6 minutes in, is like completely different from anything on the album.
Yeah, very different.
It's like, I think you were saying during our listening that it was more like Type O Negative.
Definitely reminded me of Type O Negative. Like, I got a Peter Steele vibe from it. I tried looking it up to see if there was a guest vocal on there. Couldn't find anything. So if that's Travis doing it, then that just exemplifies his range and his skills as a vocalist.
Yeah,
because
he's
I've
really
never heard him do a style like that before. And it's kind of quiet. It doesn't happen for a long time or ever. It's like a verse or whatever. But it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
It makes that song stand out as something unique.
Exactly. And just the vocal prowess on this album is really impressive. Like, Travis does so many different voices, and that just is like throughout the entire band's discography is like that. But it's just, listening to this album just gives an idea of like, wow, this guy's so talented. Every single different voice you hear is just one person.
Yeah, his range is amazing, and his growls are very, very deep and dirty and nasty. Like,
now, the ending of the title track, at first I thought, wait a minute, are they really fading out for 3 whole minutes? But then Vile made a good point that, look, this whole album's theme obviously is about climate change and just the destruction of the planet. If you look at the album artwork, it's pretty clear. He's holding up a smoldering Earth on his back. And it's like, this is like the final fade out, like fading away into death and destruction. And I think it fits.
yeah.
I think this album does a really good job at giving you a presentation.
Yeah.
Given all the interludes, all the theming, all of that, if you just like look at the album as a whole, then it works really well with itself.
So the impact works well.
Exactly.
Yeah, you could. I think it's fair. A 3-minute outro on a 9-minute song that closes off an album that's all about death and the end of the world. I think that's very suitable.
It works that way. So, having the Unerasable Past be before that, it also kind of works. So there's this really creepy ambient piano.
Yeah.
So it's just like one big package.
Yeah, it's basically like you guys fucked the world up and there's nothing you can do about it now. It's unerasable. We can't go back.
Yes.
We're past the point of no return.
But yeah, so it was interesting to me that this album it started, and I thought it was kind of alright at first. I had to warm up to it, which is interesting because I find with some albums, it starts out strong and then kind of tapers off. But this album was the opposite. I was finding the second half of the album, I was gravitating towards, at least in our first impression, more than the first half. And it kind of started at One Day Closer to the End of the World, which is one of the singles they released. That song had really nice verses, a really cool bridge, and I felt like it was that song that kind of made me think anything that I didn't like, I feel like will grow on me.
That's true, and we were going to give this album an entire week to grow on us even more because it seems like we both liked it quite a bit. That's what we're going to do. We're going to do it all week long, and we're going to develop our opinions and be back next week with our full and final review of Death Atlas, so be sure to check that out. But like this video if you liked it, comment below and let us know what you guys thought of this album. I'm Vile Self.
I'm TV Fish.
And we'll see you guys on the next one. Later.